Your Sunday afternoon movie review. This particular movie I picked up at a thrift shop a couple of weeks ago, and I bought it because I read the reviews on it and it was very polarizing, and I wanted to kind of get my own take on it and see where I stood and if the critics were right and it was not that great, or if it was better than what they were giving it credit for. 1986 Columbia Pictures home video RCA release, Out of Bounds, starring Anthony Michael Hall. You'll know him from like Pretty in Pink, I think he's in, and 16 Candles, and The Breakfast Club, the whole Rat Pack thing. He said he would not associate with that term. Interestingly enough, this is his first serious role. He was almost cast in Full Metal Jacket the year after this, a Kubrick movie, and he's actually a decent actor in this picture. Directed by Richard Tuggle, and he was known for directing Escape from Alcatraz, Clint Eastwood film, and one other Clint Eastwood film, which I did not write down. Hour and 35-minute runtime. Now we're going to get into, this is an X-Video rental copy. FYI, I hate this box style that Columbia did, where you have to open the flap on the side, and it kind of... X-Video rental, rated R. This is from Cohen's Video, 7920630. Don't know where Cohen's Video was, but one of the forgotten video rental places of the yesteryear that was in every strip mall in the U.S. And we were kind, and we did rewind it. So, this movie reminds me of this genre of a couple of other films that came out in the 80s. It kind of gave me vibes of Martin Scorsese's classic After Hours. This particular film came out in 1985, so the year before. So I feel like this movie influenced it. This movie is a Friedkin classic, may he rest in peace. Kind of similar vibe. It takes place in LA, just kind of like our feature presentation that we're discussing. Recommend this film. Although these two films are superior in every way to this film, this is VHS rental fluff that you just watch on a Saturday night with your girlfriend and make out half the time. But, you know, we'll get to it. The most closely resembling movie that came out the same year, which is also a better movie, but, you know, 1986 as well. This movie kind of fits the same vein. Some Like It Hot with Jeff Daniels and Melanie Griffith. Very 80s, suspenseful. This movie had some good stuff going for it. There's a great villain character, the guy that's the drug kingpin. Obviously, Anthony Michael Hall did a great job. I wonder if he's related to Philip Baker Hall that recently passed away. I'll have to look that up. Don't know. We'll have to find out. Basically, the story is this guy is a fish out of water story. The executive producer, John Tarnoff, wanted to make a fish out of water tale where a guy came from Podunk, Iowa, in a small town, and then goes to LA to see his brother who'd left the farm years before, and he's going to go spend the summer with him. His mom and dad are going through a separation or divorce, and he doesn't want to, and the dad's heart is to still run the farm, and the mom's just like, let your boys go and live their life. He's going to LA to spend the summer with his brother and find himself. And then he meets a love interest, played by, I did not write that down either, Jenny Wright from St. Elmo's Fire. She played this chick, Dizzy. Very 80s, bleached hair. The whole movie, if you want to like get a feel of like in the 80s, this is one of those movies where I feel like this should be classic, mandatory 80s watching, just like some of these other films, if you want to get a glimpse at the decade. But I didn't really like some of the way that they laid out the plot. It was kind of cheesy and cliche, which Roger Ebert said in his review at the time. It was rated R, and I felt like this movie was not a success at the box office because of that. $9 million budget, it only made $5 million. I feel like they could have toned this movie down easily and maybe gotten a PG or PG-13 rating, and this would have had a wider appeal and been more watchable and more popular. But I feel like it was kind of like, it was violent, And there was dead bodies, and they looked more realistically dead, but there was a lot of profanity that I feel didn't need to be there. I just think this movie could have been more tame and been more of a classic than it was. I think the R rating was a hindrance to it. So, that being said, this movie is interesting because of it showcased all these transient dirty punk kids that came from across the country and ended up in LA, and the underground punk scene, second wave punk, new wave, nightclub life with teens, very dark, a lot of night shots in this movie, a lot of heroin exposition, a lot of people on drugs. And my buddy Jonathan told me all about the dirty punks, and it's just kind of like showcasing that to a degree, just the transient nitty-gritty youth of the LA area in the 80s, hanging out in nightclubs and getting high and just dancing to punk rock. It has a classic soundtrack from the 80s, the Smiths, the Banshees, to name a few. In Excess, I think. Bon Jovi had a song in there, I think. So I would say the soundtrack of this was very good, but sometimes he would do weird scene cuts and the songs would cut from song to song to song, and I felt like his transitions were not very good, so that kind of was a hit for me. But overall, the movie was enjoyable. Way better than what people gave it credit for, because of Rotten Tomatoes score, we're going to get into our reviews now, only 44%, which I felt was very low and not fair. IMDb also 5.4 out of 10. Google users were a little bit higher at 65%. And overall, I am 3 out of 5. I don't think it's as low as a 2, but it's not as good as a 4, so we're right there in the middle. It's a VHS rental, modern equivalent. I'm going to Redbox this and watch it and enjoy it on a Saturday night. But I feel like this could be classic 80s fare, and I don't know why there's not a lot of information on this movie. The Wikipedia page, movies you could tell that are not very popular, have very, very short information on their Wikipedia page. And I feel like this movie is better than what they have given it credit for. Like, I feel like this could be a classic, almost like Something Wild, which I have not reviewed here on the channel, but I did watch this 3 or 4 years ago. So, again, if you want to check out some great 80s movies along with this one, obviously check out Out of Bounds. Don't know if there's a release on DVD or not. I didn't look. Something Wild, Jeff Daniels, that's another great one. And then rest in peace, because of William Friedkin recently died. I recommend Live and Die in LA if you want another LA tale, because this place takes place in LA and so does this. And then if you want an 80s all-night romp through New York City, obviously Martin Scorsese's After Hours. And there is another movie that I could not find my copy on, and I cannot remember the name for the life of me, but it's another LA escapade with Jeff Goldblum. It's kind of like the Scorsese version of this film, except for it takes place in LA, not Scorsese directed, panned by critics, but it's another classic 80s LA movie that you should watch too. And I did not write the name and I did not research it. So if you know, comment down in the comment thing below and let me know what I'm missing out on. Until next time, keep watching movies and keep tuning in and seeing what obscure random crap I'm going to talk about next. Unfortunately, most people do not watch my movie reviews. I got 300 views on me eating and reviewing a Jersey Mike sub. That's what people want to see, but I only have so much money to spend eating out all the time. Maybe if I set up a Patreon and you guys start rolling me money so I could eat and review, that might happen. Who knows? I doubt anybody would contribute. Until next time, we'll see you then.